Warning: the following video may have language that some viewers may find offensive, and others are already offended. Viewer discretion is advised, but not really. No animals were hurt in the making of this 4-hour feature film.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us here on the Full Monty, a video podcast that, as you know, we shoot right here in St. Thomas, Ontario. And today is a pretty unique day because out of all the shows that we've done in the past, we actually have our first guest from out of town. Yes, she's still in Elgin County, which is what we have all wanted to do. And this is somebody that many of you know. You've probably heard of her name. You may have read about her in the newspapers, or who knows where you hear about this lady. But she is from the Town of Aylmer, and she's a councillor over there. And what's her name? Kathryn
Desrosiers.
Desrosiers. How did I mess that up again? I'm sitting here practicing that.
Desrosiers.
Desrosiers. Yeah. See, here you go. You go live, or you go film, and then it happens.
Yeah.
See. Hey, it's what it is. Anyway, Kathryn, thanks.
Thanks for having me here. I'm so happy to be here. And this is my fifth podcast.
Your fifth podcast. Yeah, we were kind of talking there, so that's pretty good. So I can't believe I screwed your name up. Isn't that awful?
That's the whole, it's the beauty of having a live show, right? It's the authenticity of it.
And this is what, it's just, by all means, we're not professional. We're laid back.
No.
It's just a kitchen talk. That's all this is. And that's what Jeff Urich, when I had him in, we were talking, and I said, Karen Vecchio.
Yeah.
I have yet to get her in here. And
she'd be a good one.
Oh, I will be now. I've had Mike in here.
Yeah,
and,
he'd be good too.
Mike was awesome. Mike's actually joined me co-hosting.
Of course he has. I could see him doing that too.
Mike and I go back many years ago to Rogers when he had the show. I was there before Mike came, and then I did some camera work for him. And so we always did stuff to try and make Mike look good. So
it's easy to do.
At times, but you've seen the picture with him in the Captain Canada.
He has the
outfit,
funniest
the
pictures. He has the funniest pictures on Facebook. I've seen so many.
Awesome.
I'm like, he's so brave and authentic, and I just love his presence on Facebook is great.
Mike is awesome. So anyway, Karen is she's been on my hit list for a while.
Yeah.
I want to get her in the hot seat, and now that she's actually left politics,
might be a good one.
I want to get into the.
Yeah.
I really would like to, because when Jeff Urich was minister, I think Parks and Recreation or something like that, he had a different thing.
Yeah.
But the little fallout that he had with, I call him Daddy Doug. So nobody could really get it out of Jeff. Anybody that knows Jeff personally, we know what kind of person he is, and he stands for the people. And same with Karen. What happened with her? She's for people over party. Absolutely. Right? And anyway, Jeff, a lot of people tried. Jeff was pretty tight-lipped about it, but I got him to crack.
Was he out of politics at that time though?
Yeah. But he still stays in touch with a lot of people that that are in there. But
it is a different situation though when you're actually sitting in that elected position, because you do have constraints on you. Like you have to watch what you say, and you have to choose your P's and Q's.
Let's see, the Integrity Commissioner. Is that the name that? Yeah. Are you familiar with them at all?
I'm so familiar with them.
Are you? Have they been called on you? Okay,
yes, they have.
You know what? I've got some friends here that I've been talking to, and they're like, "You got to ask her this. You got to, gotta." And I said, "Well, we'll try and we'll see."
Yeah,
we'll
and
see.
it's like I said, you have to be mindful of what you say.
Yeah.
I mean, after politics, like I said, with Jeff and Karen, you might get a different type of response from them. But I know even with myself still being elected, I do have to be cautious of what I say.
Absolutely.
And so I will try to answer as best I can, because there's nothing in my eyes that is a secret, and I'm happy to talk about it, but I do just have to be mindful about what I say and how I say it, which I understand.
I mean, there's absolutely no problem with completely disagreeing with an idea or a direction a government is going, or a project that you just cannot support. Never is it good to, make it a personal attack and those kind of things. And people have done that. They turn it into name calling, or look what's happened in Sarnia down there with Mike Bradley.
That's wild.
Group down that gets like, there's a lot of yelling, name calling, all kinds of stuff.
It's so unprofessional. Like it's a totally different degree there.
Yes, it is. And you know what? Yeah, I get it. I've been in meetings where they can get pretty heated, and I've actually got up and walked out on some myself because it could be, it doesn't matter what kind of organization you're in. You all have some kind of board or committee that has to run it, right? So, let's start. Let's go back to Kathryn's little girl.
Okay.
So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Lyons.
So, did you?
Yeah, just north of Aylmer there. Yeah. Family farm, basically been there since birth. Oh, wow. And my family has a long history of being here in Elgin County. So I don't know if you're familiar with any of the Jenkins, like not Paul Jenkins.
Yeah, okay, not Paul, but
the farming Jenkins from the Malahide area. So my great-great-grandfather, Jim Jenkins, was one of the first settlers here in Elgin County in early 1800s. So he came from England and met Lottie Jenkins and raised a family here in South Dorchester area. Okay. So I am the great-great-great-granddaughter of Jim and Lottie Jenkins. Oh, really? So that's my mother's side. And then my father's side, they immigrated here from Holland in 1954, just after the war. Okay. And they came from a small town in Holland called Kleindongen. And wow. I have a little bit of a mix. I have like a family that's been here since day one, and then I also have a family that part of my family has immigrated here from Europe, right?
How long ago was that from Europe? What year were you talking, or like early 1900s or 1800s?
So the Jenkins story or the Dutch side?
With the Dutch side.
The Dutch side was 1954 is when they came over. 1954,
okay.
They came over
and then
on a
the
boat.
Other side then? When would they?
I'm pretty sure it was like 1832, 1835. Wow. It was very early. Okay. Yeah, they were one of the, like a settling family here in Elgin County. So.
All right. Yeah, my mom and dad, they came, my dad was Belgium, went over to England after the war. He was in the service, Royal Army Service Corps, and then met mom, and then they came here in 1960, 65, I think it was, to Canada. So, so I'm a direct descendant from immigrant.
It's nice having that mix though, like having that immigration background, but then also having like a very founding kind of family here as well, because it gives me a good perspective of both. Oh yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool. So we've always kind of lived in the South Dorchester area, I would say. Like it was at one point South Dorchester and Malahide, they amalgamated, but we've always been in the South Dorchester area.
Okay, so here's a question I've always wanted to know: the trailer park in Lyons.
Yeah.
How long has that been there?
As long as I remember.
Really?
I'm 33 years old, so 33 years for sure. Probably before then.
You're just a youngin'.
I am a youngin'.
I'm almost twice your age now.
Yeah, I was brought into office at 29. So I was very young when I started politics. Yeah. Okay.
So, that trailer park, I knew some people. Well, for a lot of years, I drove for Dallarcarn.
Yes.
Propane. So I used to go up in through Lyons and do the trailers and stuff. And I've known people over the years that live there, but it's a cool little spot over there.
It is. And I had, living in Lyons, I had friends that I went to public school with that lived in that trailer park. So I've been in that trailer park playing as a kid. No partying, just playing.
Yeah, she says no partying.
No partying, yeah. I'm a politician. I can't say that, right?
Yes, all right. Now we're getting in it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So growing up, schooling. Where did you wind up going to school in high school?
I went to Springfield Public School.
Okay.
Yep. Because if you lived on the west side of 73, you went to Springfield. If you lived on the east side, you went to, vice versa. If you lived on the west side, you went to Belmont. And if you lived on the east side, you went to Springfield.
Oh, okay.
So because I lived on the east side, I went to Springfield. So I went to Springfield, then I went to Summers Corners, and then from there I went to East Elgin.
Okay.
So that was
Summers Corners.
Yeah, Summers Corners.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're getting up through high school. So we're just breaking it down. So where were you, what was kind of your first job? Were you working on a farm, or how did you?
My very earliest job would be babysitting. That's a typical first job. And I was young. I would say I was 11 or 12.
Okay.
And my parents always, I think it's that that Dutch background and farming background have always encouraged independence and a very good work ethic. So I was always encouraged very early on to start working. So I would say babysitting was my first introductory job. After that, I had several jobs. I worked at Country Paws boarding kennel.
Oh, Country Paws.
That was a fun time. Yeah. I also worked it was Value Mart at the time in the deli, and my grandmother was the manager there. So that was like kind of the introduction to that.
Okay. Cool.
After that, I worked at Godfather's Pizza in Aylmer. Yeah,
okay.
I worked there for a while.
Yeah.
And I also worked at Max Milk as well. So I had a lot of jobs. And when I was in high school, I was actually working a minimum of 32 hours a week.
You never hit McDonald's?
Never hit McDonald's. Well, I had Godfathers, right?
Yeah.
And Godfathers was a cool job to have.
That would have been a cool job.
It was fun. Yeah.
I used to, many years ago, I still like going up the Grand Bend area where you have New Orleans pizza. It's so cool to see some of the older ones like Godfather. They've been around a long time.
They have been around a long time.
New Orleans and you get these big chains like Domino's and all that, and they all have that, I don't know, corporate flavor, I call them. It doesn't really have a personal touch to it like I like the
mom and pop
shops.
shop. Yeah,
exactly.
There's
actually, let's get into Aylmer a little bit here. I mean, there's some cool stores, shops. The people are awesome. I think it's a very pretty town.
Yes,
I've driven through, we go through usually a couple times a week. After work, Suzanne and I get in the van and we'll go down to Port. We drive up Sparta and then we go through Aylmer and then we come home. That's kind of that's my de-stress time. We just go for a drive, couple Timmies, and away we go.
Yeah.
I love Aylmer. I think it's such a pretty town. And,
so do I, and I think it has a lot of potential as well. Like I think it's great how it is, but I also see the immense amount of potential that town has, especially with a evolving demographic of community. It was a very, I would say it was a bedroom community, and it still is in a sense, but it was predominantly an older demographic. And we're starting to find, like statistically, that the demographic has shifted, that senior demographic is starting to narrow, and we're seeing a larger demographic of young families. That is that is the prime demographic right now, and children, right? So
now those young families, are they looking for? We kind of talked this over with Jeff West. People coming like GTA area, wherever, and what kind of home they're looking for. So there's some they want that new builds, the new subdivisions. There's still, for me, I'm still the old historic. I want the old house, the old farmhouse. Something that's 140 years old would just perfect for me. Of course, if you're going to renovate, probably not so perfect because, man, there'll be a lot of work bringing that back to code.
But I will say that, exactly what you're saying is we are seeing that demographic coming from the larger cities. And as I'm sure you keep an eye on the market, they're selling their homes for quite a substantial amount of money. And then they're coming to our small community and buying these. I think it's a great thing. They're buying these older historic homes that require that level of work and finances to beautify them. And they're putting that money into those homes. So we're having these older heritage homes that we're seeing being refurbished. I think it's a great thing because we're really prioritizing those historical assets and making them what they should be and not letting them kind of fall apart. So I think there's a lot of pros to this as well.
That's what I said as we're expanding here. And I've had calls here for this building because people have called from, I'm just going to refer to GTA, which I have had some from that area, but hey, we want to be a part of all this new expansion, battery plant, all the spin-off plants. They've already, some of them been thinking of coming here, inquiring about rent. Can we get something now? Because they know as we get further along, it's going to get higher and higher. They're already looking now, that are 4.5 years out from anything really operating. So is Aylmer kind of the same thing where you've got, and I said, you got these people selling, maybe 1.3 million or more now in Toronto, and they're coming here and buying something here for 700,000.
Yeah.
They have lots of, depending on how much they had to pay off back there, but they're coming with quite a nest egg.
Yes, and I think the thing is with Aylmer specifically, right? We're smaller than St. Thomas, so we don't have that necessarily that larger urban feel to us that St. Thomas is starting to grow. You've always been a city, but you're definitely the city aspect is definitely evolving more and more quickly,
Yes.
especially with the battery plant. Where Aylmer still has the amenities of a small town, we're also in such a sweet spot. Like it's so convenient where it's located. Like we're realistically only like 25, 30 minutes from London. We're 15 minutes from you guys, 20 minutes to Tillsonburg, 10 minutes to the beaches, 401's right there. We have all those practical amenities. And we're close enough that if we need any thrill amenities, we can come to St. Thomas, we can go to Tillsonburg, we can go to London, right? So
Right.
it really has, in my eyes, as far as families go, it has the whole package.
Okay.
And the one thing that I'm looking to expand on, and like I said, I see the potential that Aylmer has, is our recreational front, those services for those families, looking at those demographics that are growing and what their needs are and what their desires are. I think that is something that needs to be reflective in our planning for our growth, because it's something we currently do fall short on right now, and there is room to improve. So I think it's definitely looking at that larger picture, though.
How are you finding with the Mennonite culture? I mean, I love the Mennonites, and I used to deliver a lot of kerosene and stuff to them there. Fantastic people. Are you still getting lots of them coming into town, or have you noticed a decline in? It seems to be less of them now as to what they're used to.
I will give you my perspective.
Okay.
Because especially with my like age demographic. So 110% agree with you. There's the Mennonite population. What I recognize, especially when I was going to school, was there was many friends that I had, so same age demographic as me, that were Mennonite. You couldn't tell by looking at them, for example.
Okay.
But their grandparents, if you looked at them, or even their parents, they were the traditional Mennonites.
Okay.
So I'm starting to see that there's a word for that where they start to, is it assimilate?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word.
But they're pulling away from that culture.
Yeah,
and
but they still have that. Like they still
Yeah.
embrace the food and the culture and the traditions, but they're starting to become like more of a progressive Mennonite. Like I hope that's the right language. 'Cause I'm trying not to be disrespectful. I mean this with all respect.
Yep.
And a lot of them, like I said, are my friends. So and even their kids, like they have kids that are my age now, and they don't even speak the language anymore. So you're starting to see this assimilation, I find.
Okay.
The other thing is if you have ones that are very traditional, I find that their values are starting to be pulled away from the growth of our community. So you're seeing a lot of them move out to the country where they can continue their traditional lifestyle without having any of the modern developments.
Yeah, the influences of the, I guess they call it, I follow a guy on TikTok, Eli Yoder.
Yes.
And he's one of them in Ohio and all that. He's actually a truck driver now, but he talks all about the old order and the different variations of the Mennonite people and how they pull away and how he's helped people leave that. What do they call it now? When you're talking the worldly, that's kind of what they think of us as, and what we have. But I've often wondered. I've watched some of the kids that I knew back then, but I always saw them. One boy told me about the cell phone that he has hiding in the barn, so that his parents couldn't see it. And
like I said, I'm seeing it with my generation. Like it's really my generation that I was starting to. And it was when I had those interactions. I'm like, oh, like I couldn't even tell they had a Mennonite background because they didn't speak the language, they didn't dress the same, they had the cell phones, they were into video games.
Were they dressing like that at home, or were they going really?
I think it's like there's just more of a progressive standpoint as the generations continue, right? So that's my perspective, at least, and what I've witnessed.
I just never see them as much in town anymore. Like when I
think that's
come
why.
through town, I think
that's why. But I think the culture's still there, which is really cool. We don't want to lose that sense of culture.
I go out north there and then go out from the police college and all out the back, and then you see them, and they're all waving when you drive by.
You see them going kind of dispersing to the country.
Okay.
So, but they still come into town, and we still have the cuisine, and we still have the culture that's still there.
I used to love stuff and getting the pies and all that. So, oh my
jams and stuff.
Good.
So good.
Yeah, so good. All right, so now we're going to move into this. Let's get into council.
Okay.
What made you run?
That's a great question. And it always comes up when I do these podcasts.
Yeah, why?
So to be honest, it was something that, like politics in general, like I've always had reading the newspaper and keeping up with the local politics as much as I could as a youth. I was like, I could do that job. I would love that job. But the perspective that I had, which is was incorrect, and I know that now, was, and I think you mentioned it before, you're like, it's a retirement job. And it most certainly can be a retirement job, but it really should be a diverse job. We should have diversity on that table. Yeah. So I had that wrong perspective that it was a retirement job and that it wouldn't be something that I would be able to do, that people would support me doing until I was at least 50. That was the mindset I had. So it was always in my forethoughts, but it wasn't until I had my son in 2019. And I say this very humbly, and I hope it's not taken the wrong way, but I think growing up prior to having children, you go through life and almost like, it's sad to say, but like a selfish standpoint. Like you're kind of just, you're focusing on what's next, like get the house, get the job, like you're kind of your tunnel vision, right? Yeah. As soon as you have children, your perspective's open and you see so much more around you, and you see the insufficiencies, or you see the concerns, or you see the systemic problems that you just weren't aware of before, right? So having my son definitely opened up that perspective, which then planted that seed.
Well, let's put the farm analogy into it, and the blinders came off.
The blinders came off, yeah.
And that's what it is. You have peripheral vision of around you.
And so I'll give an example, like going to the parks with my son, and it was like, he was a 2019 baby, so he was a COVID, like just before COVID, but we went through COVID in his early years, going to the parks and, looking at the equipment and wondering, like, well, that's been broken for a while. Like, why is that, right? Like, why isn't it being fixed? Or this garden.
And why would you have noticed that before?
No, right? But like, and going to like the library or going to any of our recreational sites or anything to do with that, or crossing the road with my son in the buggy and having some deficiency with the crosswalk, right? It totally opened my eyes to a different perspective. And that, like I said, it planted the seed. And after that, I had, there was a couple planning matters that came before council that I just had questions about. I didn't have concerns. They were just questions. And I appeared as a delegate, a public delegation, and asked those questions. And I found when I appeared before council, I wasn't really getting any answers. And I was a little bit shocked that planning matters were going through with very little discussion. Like they can be approved. It wasn't a concern of them being approved. It was just that it comes before council. It's basically approved, on to the next item. Like there was hardly any discussion. Yeah. So that I found shocking, and I had a previous councillor, Tom Charlton, approach me after one of those delegations and question, like what my experience was, if I was ever interested in politics, and he actually encouraged me to run. He's like, you should run.
Oh, cool.
And I said to him at the time, and I'm embarrassed to admit it now, but I said, like, why? Like, who's going to vote for me? I'm just a young mom. And he's like, I think everybody would vote for you. Yeah. So it was kind of a culmination of things that came together, but that was, long story short, that was basically all the factors that came together to lead me to where I am now.
So you've already done one term and now you're in your second term? Or is this still
This is the first term. It's 4 years and a term, right? Okay. So we're getting near the end of this term.
So we're getting to the end of it. Okay, yeah. So when you found you weren't getting the answers that you wanted, did you find it to yourself, were you thinking council didn't know the answers, or they just didn't really care much about that issue? What was your gut feeling on, like, when you thought about, I can go on here and maybe make a change? Was it, actually finding out what's going on, getting the information, getting it out to
it was
people,
more about
transparency?
Yeah, it was more about finding out, because it wasn't that I necessarily had a mindset that people weren't doing their job or council didn't know what they were doing. It was, maybe I don't have all the information here. Maybe I need to put myself forward. And I had a lot of support from my family and obviously people outside that were like, you should do this. You would be a great person for this job. So the first, me getting in there was really about learning, understanding, because I wanted to give that benefit of the doubt of maybe it's not them. Maybe this is the way things work. I want to understand. So that was the first component of me running, was really learning and understanding. And when I was elected, obviously. Yeah. But after that, in my opinion, this is my opinion alone, is that local democracy sometimes can breed complacency, like where there's almost a fear to question things, because the people that are maybe questioning those things don't want to make it seem like they don't know what they're doing, or they don't want to be wrong, or they don't want to say something. It's all about, pleasing the masses, where in my eyes, if you're putting yourself forward to sit in that chair, you're elected to make a decision. You can't sit on the fence.
Right.
So, and that's decision can change based on information that comes forward, but you can't just consistently kind of please the masses and just kind of have a neutral stance. Like, you need to make a decision. So that was a lot of the observation that I had, that there was a fear. There was a fear to make a decision or move forward with something out of fear of rejection, fear of, insecurities. There was a lot of factors to it.
I know that the hardest part, I think, for me, one day I do want to run for council here in St. Thomas, but sometimes you may have a lot of the public opinion want you to focus on a certain thing. But the more you dive into it, you find out that you understand that they want something a certain way, but it couldn't happen. The longer picture would be the wrong move. And you basically have to go against them now. And to try and explain it to them, though.
I have a great way to explain it, a common analogy. And I've actually spoken with several other elected officials, females, about this exact analogy. In my eyes, governing is a lot like parenting. I love my son.
Oh my God, we watch the government on TV. It's like romper room.
Not that, but proper governing is a lot like, it should be like good parenting. I love my son more than anything. I love my constituents more than anything.
Yeah.
But my job is to ensure that we have food on the table, that we have a roof over our heads, and ensure his safety. Very similar to what we have with our constituents. And if my son came forward and said, Mom, I want a pool. I want a pool more than anything. Or I want to go to Disneyland. Or he had this big wish, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't have the finances to do that, because we have to pay for our mortgage. We have to pay for new windows. We have to do a repair on the car, X, Y, and Z. I can't just say yes to please him. Sometimes being a good parent is saying no.
Yep.
But I think if you're going to say no, you have to be able to justify why you're saying no.
Right.
So that's the analogy that I use a lot of the times, that if I do have to say no to constituents, I'm more than prepared to explain why I'm saying no. And it's not about, not making them happy or not wanting the best for my community. It's sometimes, in order to look at the long picture and make the best decision possible for the long term, is you have to say no to things, or you can't always appease everyone.
So you're not using the terminology from my day.
Yeah.
When something I couldn't get, and I'd ask why, and because I said so.
Because I said so.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say that to my son if he said why. Like, I would explain why, right? Yeah. So I think it's using those same. It's about respect and about transparency and accountability.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, that's a tough one for me, getting into that. But now, was that not? I'm trying to remember back to the last election. Now, it got really scary, because there was not really a lot of people came forward.
We were acclaimed. Council was acclaimed. The five were acclaimed. Sorry,
yeah.
complained.
Acclaimed. You
Thank
got
you.
That same thing I've got.
It's live, right?
Yeah.
But the mayor and the deputy mayor, there was an election, right? So I think COVID, it really did a number on communities in general.
Even
and scared
to this
people.
day, I still look around my little bubble and I see still how much it's changed people.
And I'm going to dive into something a little bit different here as well too.
Yeah.
We're seeing, why aren't we seeing more people my age getting involved in politics? Why is that? And the more I've looked into it, and I've done a lot of work with the Healthy Democracy Forum, which is with AMO, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, that there's multiple issues, but one of the biggest ones is civic engagement and civic education. And the current education system that we have, a civics course is half a credit, grade 10, that's it.
Okay.
And I graduated 2010, so not that long ago, and it hasn't changed since. When you're taking that civics course, that half a credit, it's really primarily focused on the federal and provincial government. There's not a lot of education on the municipal group, nonprofits, grassroots, anything like that. There's no education really on that, or if they do, they just skim over it. And if you think about a grade 10 student, 15 years old, and if you're teaching them predominantly the federal and provincial level, it's not really accessible to them. Like, a lot of them aren't going to sit there and think, oh, when I leave high school, I'm going to be the prime minister. I'm going to be an MP or MPP. But if you taught them about the municipal government and nonprofits, they could get started right away. But also with municipal, they could graduate and they could be elected. So we're not really, in my eyes, grooming or educating our youth about these opportunities. And what's happening is you're grooming basically a demographic that are apathetic. They just don't care. And we're seeing that not only in our municipal leadership, but you're also seeing it with our elections. The decrease of activity in our elections and voter turnout. It's to me, it's we should be looking at this as a problem and working progressively to correct it.
And that's where I've stepped in a lot of years too, with the 35 plus years with the Legion, and elections are very important to me because this is what from
you
the Legion
for.
And the military, the veterans fought for.
Exactly.
This is, and I always said, you go to Remembrance Day on November 11th and you give your 2 minutes of silence and then it's over.
Yeah.
No. These guys deserve way more than that. And I've always said, every election, get out there. I said, you want to thank a veteran? Vote.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. So this first part of your council term, there's been quite some turmoil going on in there. So can you just speak a little bit about that? So you're standing your ground. There's issues that, and things are resistance, whatever. But how does that make you feel? Like, what makes you dig in deeper to keep fighting and, not storming out and saying, to hell with y'all?
I always joke and I say it's my Dutch, my Dutch.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you know the Dutch culture, stubborn? You know the history of the Dutch. They're very resilient. They're very stubborn. There's many phrases with that. So I attribute a lot of my tenacity to being Dutch because it's when times get tough, you just dig your heels in. You don't just bow out, right? I think having a very strong support system. I'm very blessed to have a very supportive family, supportive friends. My son continues to encourage me. He's only 5, but he thinks the world of me. And also the network. Like, I have a very strong network of colleagues, like outside of my municipality, like the county, other municipalities, the province, the federal government. I have a very strong support system. So it's really leaning on those relationships, that broad relationships that I have for support. I think that's what really helps as well too.
Okay, cool. So are you finding the issues when you guys are butting heads in there and we've seen it in the newspaper and we talked about the integrity commissioner and all this stuff. So are you finding it's old ways that are like not wanting to adapt to change or accept new ideas or something? Or I think where do you think the conflict is? I'm not going to call it fighting, but it's just the butting heads.
I think for sure there's the difference of demographics and perspectives, and that's part of democracy. Like, again, I think diversity is great, and you want those differing perspectives. I think on my part specifically, that the lack of experience has really attributed to a lot of the problems that I've also faced, and I can take accountability for that and have definitely learned to move forward. Another component is the emotional intelligence, because and that goes to both sides, right? There's definitely it's a key skill set to have emotional intelligence, and it's something that I've been very blessed in my life that I haven't faced as much confrontation. Like, I've had a very supportive family, a very supportive relationship, supportive friends. So this was a very new challenge for me to face, especially in a public setting, right? So I think the more experience I have, the more I've learned and the more that I can take forward to change my approach. And I think that's just part of being human and growing, right? So I think there's a bunch of issues there for sure.
So the issues and stuff, I can see it just the way it was in the paper. I could see the issues that were coming up, and I was kind of following it along there for a while. For me, I know I'd be, oh my God, I'd be biting my lip trying to keep my cool. And, it would be quite a circus, I'll tell you. Integrity commissioner, he'd be on speed dial. All right, so things are working out though, and one thing I've always said, okay, you have your elected officials, right to the mayor. You don't have to like them, like in that, maybe I always said I hate the word hate. I really do, because hate's a very strong
word. Yeah,
I may dislike someone, what they're doing, like we were talking about our former mayor here, And there was a lot of stuff that happened that I did not agree with. You know, as a person, nothing personally that way. Like, I would never say I hate her or derogatory names that way as a person. I thank everyone for ever stepping up. If you're going to run on municipal politics, or you're going to run on council to MPP, okay, that's, quite different. I still thank you for doing it, because, you know, you may not be the person I want, but still, it takes a big person to get up there and do that job, right? So people got to realize that when they're writing in or confronting you on certain things, that, you know, they got to respect the position. Even our former PM, I was not for him at all.
You don't say.
No, but when he was here the couple times, and I did talk to him once, but I highly respect the office.
Yes.
Right? And that's the way people need to be. You may not like the person that's in the office, but you need to respect that. Oh, there you go. Now I'm wrecking my table. But you need to respect that position.
Absolutely.
Right? So where do you want to see Aylmer go? What is your vision for Aylmer?
Well, I think we've touched on it a little bit already, is the potential that I see. I want to see that progressive growth.
Okay.
I want to see those family amenities be increased. I want to see our economy be increased as well. I feel like you said, our downtown is beautiful.
But how do you do that and not lose the hometown feel?
That's very a good question. You know? I can't give away too much, because there is an election coming up, if you didn't know.
Oh,
and
you want to?
I've got plans. I've got my little tool bag of all my ideas
terrible.
I've been saving. And to be honest, a lot of these ideas I've actually brought forward and have been kiboshed this term. So they've evolved those ideas. I've built on them, and I'm really excited to present those ideas to the public. I think it's going to be a very exciting
Kathryn
time.
Has some tricks coming out of the bag.
Lots of tricks.
Is it tickle trunk?
It's a tickle trunk, Mr. Dress Up.
Mr. Dress Up, yes. Now I am dating myself.
I watched Mr. Dress Up, so
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was an old coot when you got in there, though.
Oh, he was the best.
Actually, my daughter, she's 36 now, so
she would have watched it too.
She was all into the Sailor Moon and all that.
That's what I watched too. Barney, Sesame Street.
My days go back to Simon and the Land of Chuck Drawings.
Oh, that one I don't know.
And Felix the Cat. And,
or about reading. Do you remember Reading Rainbow?
No.
You don't remember? Oh, Reading Rainbow. That was a good one too. So
I wasn't into rainbows and unicorns back when I was growing up.
It was just a reading. It was like a library show. They just read books. So
cool. All right. So I got one more question for you.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask, but I got a couple things here I want to show, because if you watch this podcast, I kind of bring up some photographs every once in a while.
Of me?
So she's getting nervous.
What's the photos of?
Here is you with somebody that I absolutely adore. We've already talked about her.
Oh, Karen.
So these pictures are going to go up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
So people will be able to see. So that's obviously over at the Castle Station.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what was going on that night?
That was her retirement party.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Yeah, no, I love Karen.
I
miss her.
I could not be there for that. So I know. Karen was, she was an awesome person. So, well, she is an awesome person.
She's awesome.
For an MP, though. Yeah. Okay, this one I had to laugh, because I'm what is going on? Here you go.
Oh, that's a great person. Do you know who that is?
No.
Do you have grandkids?
Oh, yeah.
You don't know Blippi?
No. No, I don't know. Like, I haven't even seen them in forever.
How old are your grandkids?
7 and what's the other ones? Like 2?
Guarantee they know Blippi. So you should ask who Blippi is. So Blippi is a fictional...
Blippi,
Blippi. He's a fictional character. He started on YouTube. Now he has TV shows, very popular.
Really?
Oh, yeah, big time. And my husband looks a lot like him. And what started...
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is my husband, but he's dressed like Blippi. So what happened was he dressed up as Blippi for my son's 3rd birthday party.
Okay.
And my son genuinely believed, like, he thought his dad left and that Blippi had come to his birthday party. And cool. Parents from that birthday party were talking about it, and that basically turned into him doing a couple performances at the library. He's been in our parades, and he just does it. There's no fee. He just does this for free, just for the community. So that's my husband.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, the bow tie
and the glasses.
Instantly, I just thought of Bill Nye the Science Guy. That's who I kind of thought.
He's kind of like a modern day Pee Wee Herman. Do you know Pee Wee?
I hated Pee Wee.
You probably won't like Blippi then.
Sorry, folks, but I call him pervert Pee Wee. Yeah. No,
so.
For the kids, Pee Wee was pretty cool. That I don't even want to get in there. Okay, this building, I'm going to switch this one picture around because I've been here. And this is one amazing.
Such a beautiful building.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Fabulous. I've never been to this building until I was invited to be to this building. And I've been there multiple times now. But it's stunning.
There's the other one with you in
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Now, I'm watching a few of you. I'm going through some of your photographs there. Here's another one with the
art.
Yeah, and the hallway. And it's just the whole outlook of that building is just, I was in awe.
That's why I was taking photos, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so nice.
You did not, and I have not seen the one where I have it in mind. You were standing under Steve Peters.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Steve, when he was Speaker of the House, in the big picture right there.
I'm getting a tour, and our MPP was part of that tour, and nobody pointed it out.
Rob never pointed that out?
No.
He's rude.
No, he wasn't being rude. I think he was just
he's rude.
He was building time for me. Like, he was obviously at the legislature.
So who took you? Was it Tanner?
Tanner, and then
he's a good
then just Rob's team. So, and I've been there a couple times. So I'll be going back.
Yeah, I want to go back.
I'll make a point of looking for it when I go.
I actually talked to Tanner, and I was at Rob's office one time, and we were in the, I don't want to call it the galley that is right on the floor of the house, not up in the top. It's like the VIP section or whatever.
Like where you're like under those arches there, like
So when you're there, like the seats are right there,
right in front of you.
Right, So that's where we were in. I can't even remember the date now. It was December 1st. So I remember that. It was about 3 years ago when we started the extinguishers. So Cindy were well into it. We got invited down, and Rob read in the house the campaign and introduced Cindy's husband Richard, and yeah, it was cool. So anyway, I asked, my other half is right into this politics stuff. She's watching government all the time. She'll tell you everything from the American side to us.
Oh, wow.
From CPAC to Fox to, what, she doesn't like CNN, but anyway. I asked Tanner anyway. I said, I'd like to take her, on my not my summer holidays, but I'll book some time so when Parliament does resume. Can we get seats to go back in the... And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll look up.
I'll hook you up.
But did you go to the restaurant down below?
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
The breakfasts have you had breakfast there? It's amazing.
No, but what I found so cool is everything from the premier to whoever ministers to whatever, you can just walk right up, say, can I join you? And talk. Yeah,
that was like it was like a awe moment for me, especially the first time I was there, because I was young and very new into the whole municipal politics. I'm in line waiting for my breakfast sandwich, and I have two ministers like elbow to elbow with me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is such a weird. And then I ended up there's like a cafeteria, and then there's the restaurant, dining area. Yep. So I also ate in that dining area for the Remarkable Assembly of Women, which I was selected to go to.
Oh, okay.
And we ate breakfast with the ministers and with the premier, and it was just like, this is wild.
Have you ever been to the Federal in Ottawa? Have you been to the house?
When I was a kid, I was there, and I did like a tour. I've done a tour, but like I've been there several times since, and it's been can't. They're doing all these renovations. It's hard to get in, but I will say, spoiler alert, I was invited to come to Parliament in the fall, so I'll be in Ottawa for
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to set up a time with Karen when she was in politics. I wanted to go there. I wanted to take a tour.
It's better when you're with your member of Parliament. It's a totally different experience.
And I also, on my bucket list, is I want to go to the War Museum.
I've been there. That's so cool.
I've heard you got to give it a couple of days to really go through that.
Or you're rushing. It's. I've been there. I think
I want to see that.
It's so cool. The planes. Is amazing.
Here's something that really it just came to light just the other day, and it really is. This is bothering me huge, especially when we're talking about war history. I don't know if you've seen what's happened to Mark Cousins right now. Mark was on our city council here for at one time. He has Cousins Auctions. He's a historian. Don Cousins was his dad that, Mark's grown up and all that. Mm-hmm. He's a collector, all kinds of stuff. he has a whole collection of World War II memorabilia. Firearms that have all been decommissioned. He's been licensed. He can have these things. Just got raided not to. Honestly, I don't know.
I did not hear
the date
this.
was. Mark was just on Facebook the other day asking for help. Now he's got over $10,000 worth of stuff now that's been taken from the OPP, which said he had to do this. Mark's gone, done this, and proven that he can have this stuff, everything. He's got the license, he's got whatever. And now they came back and said, we're going to destruct all this stuff. So they're going to completely eliminate.
Has he got in touch with our newly elected MP?
Well, I don't know what he's been asking, lawyers, anybody. Please, I told him, I said, Mark, the very first thing I'd be doing right now is getting a lawyer and filing a injunction to stop. Get a court order to stop everything immediately right now. So, and then I said, it's going to be a hell of a fight, and how much is it going to cost?
He should involve, in my eyes, the MPP and MP.
Well, I absolutely, because this is Canadian history.
Yes.
And four cruisers, a whole bunch of cops showed up at his place, and they took all these, historical weapons. And okay, I get it. It's firearms. I don't know what's all in his collection, but I've known Mark for a long time, and he's a huge historical buff.
Yeah.
This guy. So just like his dad, and this is something that we shouldn't be losing.
No.
We can have it, in military museums and things like that, but. Maybe
that's the healthy compromise, because I know the federal policies have been evolving and they're getting more and more strict. So maybe that would be a healthy compromise is, okay, you take this, but you don't destroy it. You put it in a museum. You don't
especially
don't destroy
something
it.
That's already been decommissioned.
Yeah.
It's that it can never be active again. It's done. So it's a prop.
Yeah.
That's all it is now, right? It's just a shell. And it's terrible what I see. Certain things are happening there, but so I want to go to Ottawa. So I may have to talk to Andrew Lawton now and get him to.
I'm sure he'd be eager to bring you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. When I went to all the whole things for that. I was a member of the PC party. Anthony Shields was the guy I supported. I didn't support Andrew at the time. I've told Andrew that. I didn't think, but I was very disappointed in how that whole process went. Yeah. And even our Pierre Poilievre, I've talked to way before he was even announcing he was running. We used to talk on Facebook, and when he first, and with Joe Preston, Joe's a friend, and we've talked about Pierre. He sat right beside Pierre as he was a very young guy, like 22, 23 years old. He grew up in the Parliament, and told me all about Pierre, and just said, this is a guy you got to watch, because he's going to be coming, and. And I talked to him, but the way that whole thing went, But I mean, I've moved on now to the point where, okay, Andrew, I accept it. You won. Okay. It wasn't, I didn't vote for you. Yes. But,
I think we can both agree too that government is far from perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the people need to you have to get your head around the fact that if I did not vote for you, that was somebody else, but you won it. Okay, well, I work with you now, right?
Yeah, it's democracy.
That's the way it is. But there are people that, I didn't vote for you, and you'll never be my person. That's not the attitude to ever have.
No.
Okay, so here's the last one.
Oh, this is a great one. I can already see it.
Can you see that?
I can see it.
Look at that. Look at this Barbie thing.
I love it.
So these things, I seen them going around online. Could you actually get that made? Or was
I would love to get that. No, it was an app. I would love to get it. Like, I would love to have that made. And I actually had people that saw this photo and thought it was so realistic that they were like, can I get one for my daughter? Or can I get one for my kid or whatever? So I was like, actually, it's just.
See, I never opened it because those things I'm always a little leery on them, because I don't usually click on apps or these things, because I've never had an issue with my Facebook hacked.
Yeah, a lot of people do though.
Yeah, I know, so. And that's the games, and all these people play, and they're always like, "Oh, I got hacked. I got to change this," or somebody,
It was just a photo, so there's nothing that would have been. Okay. You could have clicked on it. It's just a photo.
Like Mini Me.
Yeah.
There's got to be a place that could actually make those.
Oh, I'm sure, and maybe one day we will.
That would be cool. Okay, so here's our final question, because I know we're up like 45 minutes. So, you're mayor. You want to run for mayor? Will you run for mayor?
Top secret. I can't slip with you.
Let's
Tony.
just say, okay. So without saying you're going to or not, is that something you've always thought you'd like to try sometime in the future?
It was the same mentality that I had when I was put my nomination forward. Is that yes, but I didn't think at this age.
I'm not going to ask you, will it be this term, or will you run for council again? None of that stuff.
I will tell you this.
Sometime in the future, would you like to try that?
Absolutely, and I will tell you, I will give you this, that there's been an increasingly amount of people that are constantly asking me, will you run for mayor? Will you run next term? We want you as mayor. So there's definitely been an influence.
Okay. So let me ask this. If you did decide to run for mayor on this next term, do you think in this first term you've learned enough? Would you be ready?
Absolutely.
Okay. See, that's my thought. Eventually, I don't know, maybe in the future, would I ever run for mayor of the city of St. Thomas? I doubt it. You never say never.
Never say never.
But to run for council, I would really I just would love to be a part of the community that I've done something.
I will say in my eyes, there definitely was a benefit of running and being council, deputy mayor, whatever you want to do, prior to ever considering even a position of mayor. For someone to run for mayor without having, not to say it couldn't be done, it absolutely could be done, but there is a lot to learn about the process, policy, the experiences that I've experienced, interpersonal relationships, dynamics, the tiers of government. There is a lot of layers that would be beneficial as a mayor to have experience with prior. Okay. But I mean, you see it all the time. You see people that.
So couple more really quick things. So you're coming up to the end of your term.
Yeah.
What would you like to say, because this was your first term, but what would you like to say to all your fellow council members in Aylmer?
Council members or residents?
All the people that you worked, not your constituents, but your council members.
And staff.
Yeah.
I would say I would thank them. I would thank them because even though it wasn't always perfect and there was challenges, it taught me a lot. It gave me a plethora of perspective and new experiences that made me grow as a person. And that wouldn't have happened without those challenges as well. So I would thank them for giving me this opportunity to learn and to reflect and to grow as an individual.
I many years ago, we through the Legion, we had somebody on our executives that was, no matter what you said, was always fighting against. Never had a positive thing to say, but I always said, it used to get other people so mad. But I used to tell them, I said, but you know what? Sometimes that one person that always barks things makes you step back and maybe just take a second look. And then sometimes you can realize, you know what? That may not have been the way to go. Sometimes the one that always rejects things is kind of makes you just take a little deeper look in what you're, so it's not always a bad thing.
No.
It's just when it happens on everything.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. But, and fellow council in the area. So we have St. Thomas Council, you have Central Elgin, all that.
Malahide, BAM.
Yeah.
The list goes on.
How do you find that? Because, really, we are all a big family here.
Yeah, we are.
We really are. And I like to see our communities work more with each other.
Me as well. Yeah.
I really, really do. So do you guys in your local council ever talk about municipalities around you and what's happening, or do you bring that up in certain meetings? How does that work? I
think it's uncouth, lack of decorum to talk about neighboring municipalities, especially explicitly, this specific municipality. I think there's an effort to avoid it. I will say, I can't go into specifics, but there's such as in camera, closed sessions where things maybe of that nature would be discussed, but it's closed, right? So we can't discuss it. But no, I think my, again, perspective from observing what I've observed and experienced what I've experienced is there's definitely room. This goes back to the opportunities that I think our community has to build those relationships, to build on what we currently have. And I know, like I said myself, I do have great relationships with every neighboring municipality, with the city of St. Thomas, with the province, with the federal government. So I think there's definitely positive attributes of establishing those and
which
building
is cool
them.
Through the Chamber of Commerce business after we talked
love that.
there.
Yeah.
I've been there myself many times. So it's cool to see
collaboration.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I've said when I had Paul Jenkins in here, and I said, and Jeff Ray, and I said, what's amazing to the business community of our area is I said, it is like one massive family. It really, really is. It's just everybody talks to people. They, it's not like I come up, what's your business? You start telling me and I kind of go off on something else, but I want to tell you all about mine, right?
And what you'll recognize from just being at those chamber events is a great example is whether you're a municipality or an organization or a small business, is your resources are always limited. You don't have access to everything. And that's why those collaborations and partnerships are so essential, because what you may not have, someone else might, and vice versa. So when you collaborate, you're taking these independent resources, building them together, and having a much stronger front than you would independent. So I see huge potential, huge value in having those regional collaborations.
Awesome. One final question. I know I keep saying this.
That's okay.
For those that don't know, open session, closed session.
Okay.
Why do you do closed sessions? Like, I have people say, well, they go in there and it's like, what are they hiding? So what is it technically? Inform people what closed sessions mean. So are you discussing certain topics that the public can't know, or is it?
Yeah, so there's actual policy that defines, and you're testing my knowledge now, and I probably won't say it properly, but there's, if you look at the Municipal Act, they reference them there to the Municipal Act, there is parameters of what classifies as closed session material, and if it doesn't follow those closed session items, like you can't just go in there and talk about whatever you want, it has to legally follow those parameters, and if it doesn't, you can get in big trouble. Because you're a public body, like you represent the public. So it would, for example, it could be like legal matters, right? The public can't be aware of that because
Councillor versus Integrity Commissioner. That's kind of closed.
Depends.
Sessions then?
No, like some of mine. Well, it depends. So some of like mine have been public, but then some have been closed, depending on who they involve and what that person who submitted the complaint, what their desire is. Do they want it to be private or do they want it to be public?
And how are those commissioners? Like, so if you're going through that, are they come in and they're, just rude and they want to get you and
I've had mixed, so the experiences, so we've had one specific integrity commissioner for a couple of years, and then he recently resigned and now we have a new one. And I've also dealt with other integrity commissioners from other municipalities just on a friendly, like talking basis. But you can really gauge a lot by their tone, their energy, their actions. So I would say it's just like anyone, there's, you can get a range.
You get the good or bad.
Yeah, you get the good or the bad. And I've been blessed with the good and I've been burdened with the bad.
I'm not in your municipality, but I mean, I really do admire you for standing your ground. I do. So when I hear integrity commissioners being called, the first thing comes up on me is not like, oh, what an idiot. It's like, good for you.
Yeah. And I think there's a time and a place for integrity commissioners. Like if there's money being embezzled, like, or anything criminal, like, which I mean, at that point you would also involve the police, but absolutely. But for petty squabbles where I disagree with you, or you said this and you hurt my feelings, like, I do think there should be an onus of responsibility on both parts to, we're both adults. We're in a leadership position. We should be leading by example and having diplomacy, right? We should be talking about this. We shouldn't just be like hiring it out to a, consultant and wasting taxpayer money, right? So I think there's a time and a place for integrity commissioners.
That's one thing that burns my ass here. I'm sorry, but it does. And that's, we got to get this study done. This consultant has to do it. I'm like, oh my God, stop.
The bureaucracy.
Stop. Like, let's do stuff that makes sense and cut that stuff out and save people money and get jobs done. Don't keep tying it up.
Yeah, because I personally don't think residents are opposed to spending money. I think they're opposed to wasting money.
Absolutely.
So it's like if we can get the same results without doing all that work and wasting that money, like why?
Okay, got it. All right, Kathryn, thank you.
Thanks
so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me here. This is a pleasant surprise.
It's been an hour almost, so it's
been a good time.
My 30 minutes now is gone again.
That's fine.
So.
Anytime you want to have me back, let me know.
No, that's cool. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens next election. We'll keep watching because, we are neighbors, right? But I see at the Business After 5 when last few I haven't been able to attend because I've been so busy here. But
we'll see you around for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks again for coming.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate it. So we learned some pretty cool stuff. So keep watching. I think her political career is just kicking off.
Thanks, Tony.
I think Maybe we'll be on the provincial federal side sometime in the future. You never know.
Say never.
You never know, right? There she goes again. So, all right, stay tuned, and thanks again for watching. Tell everybody you can see us on Facebook, YouTube, and Rogers TV, all through London, Woodstock, Tillsonburg, and St. Thomas. All right, cheers. Thanks again. Bye-bye.